Hello, and welcome back to the Small Business Sales and Strategy Podcast. Today, we are talking about social media marketing and selling, and I'm going to give you 2 tips on how to market and sell well in the social media space. Are you an overwhelmed business owner who struggles to meet your sales goals, but you feel like you're working so hard? Hey, I'm Lindsay, a Jesus-following wife and mom of 4. I'm also an award-winning medical device sales rep turned sales and business strategist, and I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to the Small Business Sales and Strategy Podcast. I'm here to help you develop the skills and strategies you need to sell your services and products with ease so that you can grow your business, serve your community well, and ultimately live the life you dream of. Grab your coffee and a notebook or your tennis shoes and take me on a walk. You're in the right place. Are you ready to dive in? Let's go. All right, friends, welcome back to the show. I am super excited because this is our 10th episode together. And if you don't know anything about the podcasting world, most people in podcasting give up within a few episodes because it is a little bit time consuming when you're first starting out and learning how to edit and do all the things on the back end of podcasting. And I'm just super proud that we've been together for 10 episodes. So I'm super excited about that. If you have not already, would you please take 20 seconds and leave me a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. It gives those platforms the hint that they need to push this content to other people. And I would super greatly appreciate you taking 20 seconds and doing that for me. I would be so grateful. And I do read every single review that is left. So please do that if you would. The other thing that I want to make sure that you all know is I have a free Facebook community that will be linked in the show notes. And I would love for you to join me and the other women that are already in the group. It's a small but mighty group, and it is meant for you to connect with other small business owners, for you to learn from other women, not just me. And there will be some bonus content inside that group if you want to join us. So if you are on Facebook, you can search Small Business Sales and Strategy Business Community for Women, and you can add yourself into that group, and we will see you on the inside. Okay, so this podcast episode was inspired by a conversation with a girlfriend that I had, I think it was last week. Oh, and by the way, it's allergy season in South Texas. It's the fall, and my allergies are on fire. So I apologize if you hear me sniffling throughout this episode. I am trying to keep it to a minimum, but that is a little bit difficult at the moment. Okay, so this podcast episode was inspired by a conversation I had with a girlfriend, and she said, "Hey, Linz, I am really struggling because I feel like what I do is a little bit outside of the norm and maybe a little out there," she said in air quotes, "and I'm having a hard time reaching people that I know need my services." She's a consultant. She has a consulting business that works with senior elderly people and their families when they're trying to decide on care options and different types of living situations and what's available to them and what the needs are for that particular person. And through the conversation with her, we kind of came down to 2 things that I think will really help you in your marketing on social media and trying to reach the right people. There are a few things that I do want you to know about social media. So when people are scrolling, and I'm guilty of it, and I would assume that you're probably guilty of it too, your brain goes into a dopamine loop, which means that you're getting good feedback from your brain. You're getting that dopamine hit, and you are getting rewarded for looking at that social media. It's the same thing that happens with kids when they play video games. They get dopamine hits over and over and over and over. So what I want you to know about social media is you get a dopamine hit, but you also have to remember that attention spans are super short, and you can probably verify this with your own social media scrolling is that if something doesn't grab your attention right away, within like maybe the first half second, you just keep scrolling. Now, if you look up what the experts are saying on attention spans, they are saying that our attention spans are much shorter than they've ever been and that they've decreased by about 30% in the last 15 years. I would argue probably more than that, but that's what they're saying. And they're estimating our attention spans at only around 8 seconds. I would argue it's shorter. I mean, just in my own experience, especially on social media with scrolling, my attention span is super, super short. Another thing to remember about social media is that your content is only being shown to as little as 1% of your followers or friends. So the algorithms are feeding people what they are engaging with. And if they're not engaging with your content, it's not showing up in the places that maybe it used to. They're estimating on Instagram, for example, that the algorithm is only showing 2.6 to 3.1% of your followers your content, but it can be as low as 1%. And again, the algorithms are ever changing. So that's definitely something that we need to keep in mind when we are creating content. We don't need to continually create new content. It needs to be consistent content. So if only 1% of your followers are seeing your content, if you have 1,000 followers, only 10 people out of that 1,000 are seeing your content. Then on top of your follower count and the number of followers that are seeing your content, they're estimating between 1 and 3% of the people that see your content buy what you have to offer. So it's a very, very small percentage of people that you are reaching each time. So what I'm trying to get across here is that you don't need to continually create new content over and over and over. Now, this does not include people that are content creators that are making money off of the content that they're creating. This is for small business owners who are marketing on social media and are maybe sharing in local Facebook groups like we've discussed in previous episodes. So back to the conversation I was having with my friend about people not understanding what she did or what she does, and people not coming to her in the stages that she wants and needs them to come into her world in her business, but rather than them finding her later, how does she reach more people and how does she help them understand what she's doing? So through that conversation, we came up with 2 things that really need to happen in social media. So here's where you want to start taking notes. Number 1 is I want you to think about the problem that you solve. And I know that I hit on this over and over and over on this podcast, but you have to continuously and constantly be thinking about the problem that you solve so that you are creating content and messaging that fits the needs of your customer. Again, it's not about you, it's about them. So think about the problem that you solve, and then I want you to think about the stages of that problem and where you typically meet your ideal clients or potential customers in those stages. So for her, she meets people in the awareness phase of maybe a client has dementia or is no longer physically capable of taking care of themselves. And she meets them in different stages. So maybe it's the awareness of the adult children that they're going to need some help in this arena at some point in the near future or short-term future. She also meets people in the stage where they're ready to make a decision. They are ready to find the solution to their problem. They are a ready buyer, in air quotes. They are willing and able and ready to be educated on options, and they are willing to ask for help in this world. I'm sure there are more stages to this than the 3 I'm going to give you, but the last stage that is an obvious stage is maybe their family member is already in a care facility or is receiving care by a certain group and they're not happy with it, or maybe the needs of their family member has changed and so they are needing to find a different type of care like dementia care or something like that. So I want you to think about the problems that you solve and think about the stages where you meet people in them. Then I want you to create some questions, a yes or no question, for the people in those different stages. So for her, an example would be, are you concerned about your parent living alone? Are you an adult child who is looking for care for their aging parent? Are you an adult child who is concerned with the possibility of dementia? So you can see where I'm going with this. Yes or no questions. Are you this person? Are you struggling with this problem? Do you have this problem? Are you struggling to find what you're looking for? If the answer is yes, then we move to step 2. So I want you to create questions that are a yes or a no. And then we're going to move into step 2, which is telling them what it is you can do for them in that stage of the problem that they're in. Now, I want you to remember that attention spans are short. And in your business, you wear lots of different hats depending upon the client that you're meeting with or the situation that they're in and what needs to happen for their particular situation, right? So you really want to think about what stage they're in, and then I want you to create a list of 3 things that you can do for them. Attention spans are short. You've got about 8 seconds or less, in my opinion, to tell them what they need to know about the problem that they said yes to, and then what you can do for them. So they don't need to know every single line item that's going to happen in the process from where they are particularly starting. They need to know the top 3 things or the top 5 things. I would keep it as short and concise as possible. They don't need all the nitty-gritty of your business. That's for you to know. But if you're trying to reach people and make them understand what you do and how you can help them, you need to be clear and you need to be concise. Brene Brown is a famous author that you probably have heard of a million times, and she says clear is kind. And I agree, especially in this type of marketing, we need to be very clear and very concise on what it is that we do. Then once you've told them the 3 things that you can do for them in the stage of the problem that they're in, then you're going to give them contact information. Let's set up a conversation. Let's have a discussion or a phone call or a meeting. Let's meet for coffee and let's discuss where you are, what your needs are, and how you can help with the problem that they're experiencing. All right, let's recap. So attention spans are short. You don't need to continuously reinvent the wheel. You just need to have a clear, concise way of communicating what it is that you want your potential customers to know about your business. So number 1, we're going to start with a question. Are you this person that has this problem? And then when they say yes, you are going to then describe 3 ways you can help them. And I'm not talking about 3 paragraphs. I'm talking about 3 check boxes or line items that you can clearly, concisely put out into short form content. Now, here is a bonus tip. Once you have your questions written out, you are going to create that checklist of things that you can do for that person in that stage, and you're going to save that, and you are just going to recycle your content over and over and over. Because remember, only about 1% to 3% of the people that are following our social media platforms or like our social media platforms or that we're friends with actually see our content. And then on top of that, only about 1% of those people, 1 to 3% of those people convert into actual conversations or actual sales. So remember that very small piece of the pie is getting your content, then a very even smaller piece of that pie is going to be reaching out to you. So you want to continuously just hone in on your messaging, and you want to create content that resonates with the people that are having the problem that you solve, and telling them in a very concise way how you help them. And you do that by continuously educating the people that are out there that you want to reach, or the friends of the people that are out there that you want to reach. Remember, a friend might see your content and think, oh my gosh, my friend Jessica needs to be connected with this person. She is in the middle of this type of problem or this type of situation. Yes, it's going to feel very repetitive, and yes, you are going to get sick of posting the same things over and over and over. But it is important for you to be consistent in your messaging. So this is a really great way to do just that. It's a really great way to say, are you having this problem? Yes or no? And when they say yes, here are the 3 to 5 ways that I can help you. And here's how you get in contact with me. When you are looking at social media, just think about it for yourself and your own scrolling. What makes you stop? I know for myself, I stop scrolling when something resonates with me. And so you want to hit them right out of the gate on your written content on social media with something that's going to resonate with them. And if they're not your ideal customer, then they'll continue scrolling on. But the ones that see your content and resonate with what you have to say will continue reading in your post. And then that's where you're going to give them the 3 to 5 concise and clear line items of how you can help them and then how to contact you. Then, my friend, you're going to pair those 2 things with a visually appealing photo or video, and you've got yourself a really great piece of content for social media that you can recycle and reuse over and over and over. Of course, I'm going to give you homework. So this week, I want you to think about the problem that you solve. I want you to create 3 to 5 questions and then the 3 to 5 bullet points for each of those questions. And then you've got yourself 3 to 5 pieces of content that you can use and recycle. I hope this episode was helpful. As always, I'm praying for your business and I am praying that it is thriving. Another reminder that if you have not joined the free Facebook community, Small Business Sales and Strategy Business Community for Women, I really would love for you to join us inside that group. And if you've not yet left me a review on this podcast and you love the content that I am putting out, I would really be so grateful if you would take 20 to 30 seconds and leave me a review and tell me why you love it. I do read those reviews and they make my heart absolutely happy. Thank you again for joining me on today's podcast, and we'll talk next week. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I pray this episode gave you some tactical and practical ideas to implement today in your business. I would absolutely love it if you'd share this show with a friend and take 20 seconds to leave me a review. I'd also love to hear from you. So if you have questions or comments on today's episode, they are absolutely welcome. You can email me at smallbusinesssalesandstrategy@gmail.com. I'm praying for your business. Join me next time.